So it's live now. Are you nervous?
Yeah.
All right, don't worry. Everything's gonna come more natural as we go on and proceed. How was your day?
You know, my day was good. I'm super happy to be back in the real world.
Okay.
I've been gone for like almost 2 months. I was in the hospital for sepsis. I was going through it.
And how was that like?
Oh my gosh, that was like super lonely and super painful. I was going through sepsis, and then they took out my appendix. And then I went further into sepsis, so then I just was extra super sick. But I was noticing a few months earlier that I couldn't eat food anymore. I'd be at a bunch of restaurants because that's what I love to do. I love trying out new restaurants, and I couldn't eat the food. I was just that's weird. One or two bites and I just feel really sick. And yeah, so I ended up going to the hospital a bunch of times, and they were just I think it's emotional, I think it's neurological.
So they're kind of telling you you're crazy right now at this aspect.
They started giving me a bunch of psych meds and stuff, and I was that wasn't the solution. I mean, I was going through freaking active sepsis, and that wasn't good. It took a lot of procedures later for them to realize what was wrong with me, but now I'm glad I can eat again.
Well, yeah, you mean who doesn't want to eat? But for those who don't know what sepsis is, like myself, you want to go further depth what that is?
So when they were doing a procedure on me, they found a bunch of bacteria inside my intestines, and they were getting really swollen, and they were just getting worse by the day. But I guess sepsis is where there's a bunch of bacteria that will just gather around in your organs, and if it gets to your bloodstream, you could lose limbs or something. And I'm oh my god, no one's gonna love me if I'm
not even
dude. I'm oh, what are my chances now?
Yeah. And so how'd you notice that you were getting sick? You just were losing your appetite, like you said you had mentioned, or?
Yeah, food is my love language. So whenever I'm inconvenienced, I'm I have to eat something, or I need some flavor or something whenever I'm bored. And so I would go out to restaurants, and I'd be more than willing to eat. And then as time went by, I'd eat one bite, and then I'd be I feel sick to my stomach. The food would taste good, but I just couldn't eat it anymore. So I'm just I don't know, somewhere along the line, I was just it was during COVID, and I was really trying to support any restaurants that were opening, and I was trying to be there for all these food spots. I'm oh my god, it must be so hard. And I think along the lines I got really sick, or I had bad meat or bad
something
food.
like that.
Yeah.
And are you scared about trying food again or no?
I'm terrified to because I haven't really eaten meat, and I want restaurant week to happen, but I am still scared. I've been eating a lot of just vegetables, and it really sucks to eat healthy.
It's not that bad.
Oh, no. Every ounce in me wants to eat so bad. I want to eat the world, and my family's you have to take it easy for a while. So I am taking it easy, and I feel for everyone who has to diet or go through a lifestyle change, because it's so hard.
It is. And because going back to that, because I follow you on social media, Instagram, and I see you going out to these nice what rooftop restaurants, or hidden hidden restaurants, hidden bars. Those look pretty dope. So, and then I noticed that you stopped posting for a while, so I wasn't sure if you decided to go private, you had gotten yourself into a relationship or something along those lines. But I didn't know that had happened, so that's pretty scary.
Yeah, I realized I didn't have anything to post anymore. I posted one throwback, and I felt sad because I'm I don't even look like this anymore. I'm anyone who likes it, I'm it's a lie.
Nah.
But I'm glad that I'm better now. But oh my god, I'm so scared to eat again. But I want to get back into that life where I can just go back to the restaurants and eat without fear, and eat raw meat again. But I also am scared for my life as well. I'm I don't want to end up back in the hospital.
Well, who wouldn't? I mean, especially with this whole COVID. Did you have anybody come out and support you during this time? And how long were you in the hospital?
I was in the hospital for almost 2 months.
Okay.
January 1st until literally right now. And I mean, I had my aunt, basically my mom and my dad, but that's my aunt.
Yeah.
She she helped bring me some like creature comforts. I had like a couple friends come and visit me, and that like meant the world. I'm like, oh my gosh, because during COVID they don't let anyone to visit, so I'm just like,
yeah, you're very isolated.
I was just like smelling my friends. I was like, God, I miss you so much, guys. I'm like, your scent, like, your taste. I'm like, God, and unless I'm like scaring my friends, but it is like such a lonely time, and like my brother's like so mean. He's like, you didn't have a boyfriend during that time? I'm like, hell no, dude. I'm like, that was like so near death. I'm like, I'm so lonely. I'm just like, dude, I'd give anything to not feel pain right now. Pain.
So you weren't even like, in a sense, you weren't even going in that aspect emotional. You're just more worried about yourself being physically.
Yeah, I just like, honestly, like I was like at a 10 out of 10, like in pain. And then like I had gotten like surgery done, and like I was still like throwing up, and I was like throwing up blood. And I was I was like, dude, I was just telling the nurses, I'm like, I hate it here. Like, and they're like, I know. I'm like, I just want to go home. But, gosh, it's going to be a couple months until I can fully get out there.
Okay. So they recommended you not to go out because your immune system is still building up, right?
Yeah. Like, and they're not even sure if it like truly is like, the stuff they're giving me for like what's going on. They're like, we could put you on some more, medication if this doesn't work. So I'm just like,
fuck.
I'm like, I was really looking forward to a beer like after my antibiotics. So I'm just like, I hope I don't have to take any more.
So that being said, are you allowed to drink or not as much?
Not yet. And, I went out this weekend and I realized sober me energy is just...
Yeah, it's not...
I'm not fun, like, or at least it's been such a long time that like, I'm just not into it yet.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even really post. Like I went to like try a new restaurant and like... I just didn't feel like it. It was like a restaurant I was really looking forward to. And I don't know why. I just was like, I don't look myself. I don't feel myself. So I like didn't even post. I just posted like the club that we went to after. Yeah. But like, I think it's going to be a while until I like go back. I don't know.
You're still like exploring that option, like getting your feet back wet in that field. Yeah. Damn, that's crazy. And then they removed your appendix?
Yeah, and I don't know how they do that to children, and children end up being fine. I mean, I was in sepsis, so like I think that was like an excuse. I hope so.
Holy hell!
But it was just so painful, and then like the fact that like I was just throwing up constantly, so like I was like flexing and like hurting the stitches like all the time. Oh, so
you weren't able to like laugh or to cough?
No, I feel like a laugh would have killed me. So I'm glad I like didn't have any like visitors for a while, because like I was just like looking at my phone, like watching like random movies that like I'm just like, I haven't seen this before, so I'm just like play, throw up, play. Like,
oh my god! Yeah. What movie did you find yourself like watching a lot, or like type of series or shows?
I ended up just watching a bunch of like movies that like it was like Academy Award nominees or something, and then it made me like realize I'm like, I don't like the choices that they had. I'm like I was like watching Kristen Stewart just like. Oh, like I'm like, oh, you were not Princess Diana to me, but okay, like, but yeah, a bunch of movies that I'm just like, I don't think this deserved an award, but
it happens, right? It's all bought out.
Different crowd, like I'm not a critic. I was just like in pain, and I was just like trying to entertain myself.
And it's funny because like I understand when you relate to being in so much pain. Like when I had my injury. My back injury, like I did not care about money. I did not care about the problems I was facing. I didn't care that I was fucking poor. I'm in debt. That I'm still trying to figure out how I was gonna fucking pay the rent. I was like, this shit fucking hurts. I don't care what I need to do. Get the fuck out. Like just get this pain out. Like it sucks, right? Like
yikes. How did you hurt your back?
For me, it was like it's a confidential like kind of thing. Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Like I'm still learning what I can say and what I can't say just because it ended up being illegality. But yeah, that shit fucking sucked. That shit hurt, and I would never want to feel that pain ever again. Like, and it sucks because for me it is a life changing experience. Like I can't really do the things I love, so it gets me into this depression state of mind. And I was already a depressed person. And I was really good at hiding it here and there. But yeah, so like I don't really work out. I work out, but I don't really work out as I used to. I don't really care about how cooking really healthy, because I remember I'd always cook healthy and like post what I was cooking and look at me, I'm a fucking workout enthusiastic. I mean, I was full of myself, but it's not the same for me anymore. And as much as I try to get into it again, it sucks.
And I'm like, is that a growing up thing? Like, I'm like, you know, like you get injured and then you like get out of the game for a little bit and then you're like, do I even want to do this anymore?
It's weird, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's like you're trying to find that love again, but at the same time, it's like taken from me. And
It's weird if you get hurt like physically like that. I think I don't know. I feel like even the way that you walk is like timid after that. You're just like, dude, like I just never want to get hurt again. And so I don't know. I hopefully like it's something that we can both get over, like because I mean I can tell like that really was making you happy, like at one point like you really were in charge of your body, and I think that's like what it is like you kind of lose control of your body and then you like lose control of like who you think you are, because you're just like, oh my god, I thought I was like a really strong person and here I am like begging someone just
I was over here being a little bitch and I was like trying not to cry, and I just like, they're like, it's alright. I was like, no, I can't fucking cry. Like as much as I wanted to cry, like a little tear came. I was like, damn. I was like, ugh. This shit fucking hurt. It's like
that breaking point when you get to tears where you're just like, oh my gosh, like like I feel like I look so pathetic when I cry.
Exactly.
So I'm just like, God, don't look at me.
And that's the point. Like I was like, I felt really embarrassed. Like again, like everybody's like, where it happened is like where everybody knows like, oh, he works out, he's big and strong. Like, and that's where like having this persona and then being seen so vulnerable, it hurt. You know what I mean? Because I've always like carried myself again, like trying to be strong for my family, and I'm the only man of the child. I was the only man in the family for about 2 generations. So, especially being Hispanic, like I was taught that, not really taught, but like just a guy has to keep their feelings inside. A guy has to be brave. A guy has to be the leadership. And I know it's probably wrong to think like that, and I'm learning how to not think like that, so I don't pass that on to my son.
It's a culture thing. It
is. And like I said, I guess like it was just a whole psych trip, like with this whole injury, and an awakening moment for me. Better yet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. See, but going back to that, see, at least you can. It's with food. I mean, yeah, that's food. I'd rather be okay. I'd rather hurt and eat than not be able to eat, and then if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that. Like because I'm just like, I'm scared of food, even though like it used to be like my your love life and everything, and like now I like look at it a little differently. I'm just like, maybe I shouldn't eat all that weird shit that I like.
What was the weirdest thing you ate?
Well, I love to eat raw meat.
Okay,
like that's my favorite thing on earth. Is like when I go get like tartars and stuff. I'm like, oh, like I would go to like a new place just to like try the raw meat.
Okay,
and yeah, that's my favorite. And like even when I order like a burger or like a steak, I'm like, God, I would like if you could just make it like as blue as you can. Like it, you know, like I just want like just that with salt and pepper. Like, oh my God, that'd be so good. And then of course like the microbes in my body are all like high-fiving each other because they're just like, she did it again. Like, but yeah, I mean, there's still like a grip of restaurants because like even though like I'm not in the game anymore, like I'm still obsessed and I'm still following everybody and I'm still like looking at all the chefs and like even the photographers. Like I get so into it, and that's why like I find these places like really fast because I just like will follow and find like it's almost like an obsession, like and like borderline stalker where I'm like watching their every move and I'm like, okay, so like they're in construction, so like in a year that restaurant will be done, you know? I'm like, I wait that long. So
for me to ask you this, which was the best restaurant that you found that was a hidden gem?
Oh, you know, it's not hidden, but it's Cali. Cali's my favorite restaurant in the entire world. Like, and I mean, maybe not a lot of people have like been there yet, but like, okay, so they have like a tour of Europe that's like $65. And for $65, you get 5 courses of food that like you've never eaten in your life. Like this guy is from San Diego, and then he went to, you know, to go study overseas, and then he brought back all the culture. So I'm just like, it's fine if you're biting off of other people's culture because this is so good. Like, oh my gosh, like the fish will melt in your mouth. Like the pasta is just so good. It's fresh, and like I will vouch for like any date if you're trying to take them like somewhere nice, or if you're trying to like butter me up or buy me off or something. Yeah, definitely go to Cali because like the chicken you will still think of. Like I even like looked up to God right now. I'm just like, that chicken is so good. And
is it like marinated, like Mediterranean style?
Yeah, it's Mediterranean and Italian, and I'm just like, the flavors are so good. And like before the chef, like the head guy, he used to like go to the tables and like ask you like, hey, how are you? But now he's so busy. So like if you see him, you're just like, oh my God, for me, I'm like, what a rock star. I'm like, he makes such good food. And I mean, that's definitely my love language. Like anytime I want to connect with someone, I could like,
that's your easy go-to topic. Like, hey, have you tried this place or not?
Exactly. And I'm like, I don't like recommend places, like, but more than anything, I love like hearing other people when they're like, you know, they're like the recommendations. Like I'll be like best Thai spot, best pho spot, or like best place you've been in a while, and they will have like I have so many like.
Oh, so you're the go-to. Like if I wanted to find a new restaurant, like you'd know where to go.
Oh yeah, and I would tell you like which is like worth it, because I mean at least the places that I've been to, like that I posted, I've really liked them. But like if I don't like a place, I'm such a brat. Like I won't even post them. I'm like,
well, yeah, I mean, because it is. I guess it goes back to self-image, right? Because whatever you post is a representation of who you are.
Yeah, and you know I have people who like will take their dates out to places that I've gone before, because like I'm like sitting there like video, you know, with everything, and they're like, oh my God, this place looks really fun. So like I'll like give my honest opinion, but if I don't like that place, I'm like I won't even post it at all. Like I'll just like probably even delete it the next day, because I'm like such a brat. I'm like I didn't like it here. Like you could spend like a bunch of money somewhere, and then you're just like, this was not worth the hype.
Very very disappointing, right? You know what I mean? All right, what sells you, the food or the customer service base? That's a good question, right? Because you have a okay meal, but if you have an exceptional customer service, I'm more likely to come back, right?
Yeah, I'm a customer service person. Like I love to be buttered up, and I love like there's like there's a company that like I love to go to, like and I feel like every time that you go to their spots, like you're gonna end up being friends, or like you're gonna end up following like that server on Instagram because of how close they get to you. It's like it's the CH company. Like I like love their customer service. Like they're stellar, and they baby you, and I love to be babied. So I'm just like, and I love like I'm not really sure. Like, what do you think? And they'll tell you your honest, like their honest opinions. Right? So I'm just like, okay, like, and you know the place, the atmosphere is like, at least it's like every place that I've been to, like their restaurants are very pretty, and like I'm a visual person, so I'm just like, okay, the food might not be like the most 10 out of 10, but like it could be the environment, and it could be like the way that you're being treated, that I'm like, no, I'll come back every time. But yeah,
because like what I seen, like again, you go for, I feel like when I'm watching your stories when you're eating out, it's the aesthetics that catch my eye. Like, oh, that looks really pretty, and then you have the chef come over here, like serve you off his like, plate. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, anything that like I can read that says like table side, or like anything like extra like that, I'm like, oh man, now we have to get it. Like, God forbid I like go on like actual dates with like a guy, because he's gonna be horrified. I'm gonna be like, no, you have to order this, and this, and he's just gonna be like,
he's gonna be taking charge. Like, all right.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna like hand his credit card like this after everything that I ordered, because like I have to try everything, and like I think that's like kind of good that like I go by myself at like. I love going by myself, like places, like before I even take my friends, like I have to like scope it out, because I'm nosy.
So you sorry to cut you off, but so you would go by yourself to a restaurant?
Yeah, I love going by myself, like just because I think like since you have kids, you're just like any peace and quiet would be really nice. But like I love feeling uncomfortable, so like if I go to a new restaurant and I'm like, oh my God, how do I look, or anything like that, like it gives me such a high, because I'm like, God, I'm like, I've never been to this place before, and I'm like shaking, because I'm like, you know, like, God, like I know exactly what I want, because I studied the menu like online and everything, and I even called the place to like say that I was showing up. But it, like, I don't know, like it gives me such a like a high of like progress, that I'm just like, I'm doing something. And if I really like the place, then I take my friends. I'm like, all right, 6 of us are gonna go have dinner here now.
And have you ever always been this like outgoing, in a sense, like adventurous by yourself?
Well, before I used to like, I used to just go to like the beach or the cliffs or something like that whenever I was like feeling down, because like this all really stems from like me being depressed. Like I get really sad, and then I need to distract myself, so I'm just like, okay, well, I've never been to this place before, and I would love to like feel the pressure of me just going to a new place and like have that type of fear than to be in my own head and be sad. So like it's kind of like I'm trading one emotion for another one, but like for me, I'm like, it's new, so I'm just like, I don't know, it it definitely makes you want to like get ready and like look cute, because like before I used to just like stare at the water and like, you know, that's great, like I miss doing that. But now like it's just like it's almost an addiction where it's like, okay, like I kind of want to look good and like look pretty on like a Tuesday night or something, and I really want to try a new spot out, and it's gonna scare the crap out of me, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna show up anyways, you know, like, and you know, people will look at you like dining by yourself, but and like, you know, of course they'll like see me order like
the bomb ass
everything
food.
and dessert too. I'm like, and I remember one table was making fun of me. They're like, "Damn, you're gonna eat all of that?" I'm like, yes. I'm like, I will. Oh, I'm like, I might take the dessert home, but I'm like, that's gonna get eaten later tonight. Like,
And then going from there, do you still remember the first time you ever did that? Like going out by yourself? Like the first rewarding experience, like, because I did.
Like that for me, it was taking myself out to I think my first like by myself place, because like I could go to bars by myself, like that's fine, but like dinner and all this other stuff I did neighborhood, and like that's where like you get babied there. So I'm just like, okay, like it kind of like it made you like get over your fear, and then of course you look around and you're like, it's so beautiful in here. And then like you're nosy and you're like, I hear there's a speakeasy, like, yeah, it just opened, and I'm like, is there room for one more? And they're like, yeah. And then it's like, you can like have that sort of access, like just if you ask, you know, like, especially if you're by yourself, you're like, it's just me. Like, is there just room for one? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of realized that going by yourself is like pretty convenient at times. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm addicted to going out by myself.
I see. I think when I first had mentioned that out to my friends, that I would go out to the bars by myself. They're like, you would go about yourself, or you would go to a club by yourself? I go, yeah, dude, because at the end of the day, you're in the breaking off with you're gonna go with your partner. You're gonna find some girl, or a guy. I mean, what the fuck I'm gonna do here? I mean, it's the same objective. I mean, everybody's trying to go out and have a good time. But I think it's like that rewarding, confident feeling, like I'm doing it for myself, right? Like I'm going out and getting dressed up, looking good, and if nothing happens, nothing happens. I'm okay. You know, at least you got out with that whole experience. Yeah, I used to be a real bitch. You know what I mean? I was very scared of talking to girls with that. But
I mean, you shouldn't, like, to be honest, it's just like you're an attractive person. So like I don't think it would be like an issue with you. Like you wouldn't think, like, but I remember like going out with you one time, and like I would see these girls looking at you and they were just like, hi, you know, like, and you didn't even notice just because of like, I don't even think that you were like, you know, in that headspace or anything, but I'm just like, it's crazy how you can feel a certain type of way and not see how other people can like see you. Yeah. I don't know how I look. I probably look like angry or something
not even. No. I remember that time there was a bunch of guys trying to hit on you the whole time.
I must have blocked it out.
See? But yeah, it's just like going back on that. It's like, exactly, you may have that perception of that person, how, oh damn, this person looks good, but internally they're fighting their own self, like for myself. And I think that's what my partner says, like, you're fucking retarded. It's like, I don't know, maybe I am, but I think it goes back to that self-esteem and worthiness, like how confident you are about yourself, and then the whole different bullshit. But so how's your baby boy?
Huge.
He's huge,
like bigger than me.
Yeah?
Like he's like a football player. I'm like, oh my god.
How old is he now?
He's 11, so like he's already gonna go to like 6th grade camp and stuff, and I'm just like, am I old? Oh my god. Or did I have him really young? Like I'm like, oh no.
Holy hell, he's 11. Like I still remember when you had like pictures of him when he was like a small kid, and like I'd watch. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I stopped posting him as much. Just was like, I don't know. I think like overall, like on Instagram, I'm like, you know what, maybe I just shared too much. And then I feel like I got a lot quieter. And then like, I mean, I probably will get in trouble for saying this, but like, I feel like sometimes when you parent, it should be like in silence. Like you don't have to post like every single thing, like, or every accomplishment. Like it could be something intimate between you and your kid and the family. And like, no one else has like
to know.
Yeah. You know, I'm just like, there's just so many milestones that like we go through that I'm just like, I wouldn't think to bust out my phone and like, you know, I maybe I'm just like a little different that like, or like I just had them like before the time of like where social everyone media would post. Yeah. Like, I mean, I was back in like where like you had to upload pictures onto Facebook, and then like it was a commitment to post something, and then you wrote a caption, and I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but now people have like full on Instagrams with like their kids as like their babies, and then like they write it like the baby is like, my mom took me to the zoo today.
I think that's kind of weird. I mean, don't. I agree with you. I think
you know, and we're gonna get a couple of people who are mad at us because they're like they have that up, you know. But like in general, yeah, I think it's a little odd to me, because you could just say like, I took her to the park. I mean, I don't know. I don't really like putting your kids online, because I'm like, I think I'm just scared of perverts, and it's not like, you know, they're gonna be like looking at my kids specifically, but I'm just like, I don't know. I would hate to have them like get made fun of, or like, you know, I don't know. I just like, I think the worst, and I'm just like, I don't want you out there.
And I don't think you're wrong. I mean, don't quote me on this, because it is a weird scenario where you do have guys and girls that are fucking weird, and they'll save your pictures, and especially if you're kidding. I mean, like, I came across one of my old coworkers, and he had like, oh yeah, that's my friend's daughter. I'm like, why the fuck do you have a picture of her? That's fucking weird. And I told her, I was like, dude, this guy has a fucking picture of your kid.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like, this is the day and age of era of social media. It's everything. I mean, and it's going back to that. You're not gonna bust out your phone. And sometimes I catch myself recording my son, and then my son looks at me like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, then it gets a little awkward.
It gets a little awkward,
the
and then
eyes.
yeah, and I'm like, all right, maybe like I am being a fucking weirdo. I mean, like, this is not right. Like, I should be enjoying my son at the moment, and that I've also kind of backed off with that too, because like, yeah, it's just. It's like an epiphany, I guess. Like, you see for what it is. Like, your kid will tell you, like, give you that awkward, like, I look like, dude, what are you doing?
Once you get that awkward look of, they're like, what are you doing? You're like, oh no, you're like, have I become that person?
Yeah.
So then, you kind of learn to like stop, or like sometimes like if I do it, they're like not even noticing or something. I'm just like, secretly, I'm like I really want to capture this moment, but like I don't want them to turn around.
Yeah, and it's funny because Prince will be like, Dad, no camera. I'm like, all right, no, I'll put it away, don't worry. And but when was the last time you guys took him to Comic-Con? Was it the previous one right now?
Yeah, it was the one in November, and like we go to Comic-Con every year, and like they're doing another one in July, but this one was really cool because it was not advertised well, so not a lot of people went, and so like I got to like dress up like. I did like Indiana Jones, and like I was really looking forward to that one, and I'm like, oh my god, like I don't think like anybody really recognized that one, but like I didn't really care. I was just like, thank God, like I finally have the hat, I have like the satchel and everything. Yeah. I felt badass. I was just like, I'm Harrison. And then I was like a Jedi, and that was like me living my dream, because I finally like found the Jedi outfit. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And it was just, it's so fun, and I can't wait for the parties to come back.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, like I have to like start looking now, basically, because like they will start showing their lineup of like, you know, parties, the Hard Rock and everything, and like I try to make it like as fast as I can, and I try to sign up my friends. I'm like, come on, you know, because like of all the free stuff you can get, but you know, when in doubt, you could always just like butter up security like throughout the whole entire day. You know, you just show up in costume, you're like, hey friend, it's so hot out here, you know, trying to connect on any level.
Yeah, see, and whatever they buy.
Yeah, by the time Saturday rolls around, they like recognize you. They're just like, hey. And like, and they'll let me in, and I'm just like, oh, sorry, friends. Like you had to like be cool with security first, you know. But it's so much fun, and then like I love getting like the nerd boxes. Like it's where like they give you mystery boxes. Like you pay like $40, and like they like, for me, I get the Star Wars box every time, so you get like random like, you know, these tiki cups, or like you know,
get, like
lightsabers, like a bunch of collectibles and pins and stuff.
Oh shit.
And so like every single time I have to get a box. I'm like, I mean, how much Star Wars stuff can like you have?
Yeah,
I'm like,
never
enough.
Yeah, clearly, like I have my troopers up there.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. But
had I been tall enough, I would have been able to see that.
So have you always been into comics, or like how'd you fall into this whole Comic-Con life? Or are these costumes like you made them yourself, or you purchased them, or?
There were a couple that I like made and like sewed up and like within like a couple hours, because like I wish I like had the time to do the 2 months of work. Instead, I do like the last 2 weeks. I'm just like hot gluing and doing it as best as I can. And then of course, like I'm like looking online. I'm like, yeah, had I just spent a little bit more time and it would have looked really great. But I feel like even my rush stuff, I'm just like, I'm super proud of. Like,
they look super cool. They look super cool.
Yeah. Or like, I've gone to like a couple places online where like I got it from like Hong Kong or something, but like that's like my Captain Marvel one and my Dark Phoenix one, like, and I feel like those like are the most like custom one that like, cause like you could send them your measurements and then they came back all wrong, but like at least like the hips and like the boobs were big, so I was like, I can work with this. So I went to the seamstress like 3 times and I was like, it has to be tighter, like it has to be comic book like thin, like, you know, painted on. And you know, finally like it happens. And then like I love like transforming myself to where like if I don't recognize myself, I feel like I totally got the assignment done. Like I love it, like especially when I put on like wigs and everything. I'm like, it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's like you're a completely different person, right? You know, like different personality, different character. Do you actually go in depth with the character, or you like have fun with it?
Sometimes like if you're taking pictures and they're like they'll say a couple of things to you, like you could say stuff back, but like I think I'm just like, you know, I can't help but be my normal self, and I'll just like break character. I'm like, rock on, thanks, man. You know, like I'm like, oh, you know, like I lost it. I'm like, and it's hard to like keep the voice or like to be like, this person. Persona. Yeah, because like I'm such a freaking dork in real life, and I'm just like, I'll break character in a second. Like I can pose and like I can do it for pictures, but like if you were to talk to me in real life, they're like, oh dear Lord.
Oh my God, who's this girl right here?
Yeah.
And then, what about your son? Like, does he like that whole experience? Like, that's that's a very admirable. I mean, I took Prince one time, and he likes seeing all the costumes. Are pretty cool. But like, how does he go with it going inside?
He's like a pro. Like he'll just like look in my box of like costumes and he'll just like pull whatever out, and like he's just like a Power Ranger that day. I'm like, cool, you're a Power Ranger. Like he has no shame. Like, and you know, like he doesn't care if it's see-through. He doesn't care if it's like whatever. He's like, I am this character for today, and I think he like must have learned it from me, because I'm just like, I'm how old and I'm like still dressing up as like a cartoon character, but I'm like, it's okay. I don't think I'll ever grow out of it. And like, unless it looks like awkward, then I'll dress up as like an old person, you know, an older like Professor X or something.
Yeah. And what are you planning on being on this year's Comic-Con?
Gosh, I know I should start getting to it because it's like right around the corner. I would love to be Xena, the warrior princess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'm like, I got the long hair, and I was like, and I lost the weight. So I'm just like, oh, dude. I'm like, all I needed like the clip-on bangs. And then like how she does that, the like that suit, call, you know, like I'm like, I'm not going to do it right now. But like, I know I got to get warmed up and like definitely do that when I'm out partying. They're going to like lose their shit.
Oh, yeah. By then the alcohol kicks in, you know, you don't care.
I know. I'm definitely like, I need a couple of drinks to get into it. Like I'm like, I have like that energy to be like, hi everyone, I'm here. But I'm like, I need a couple of like
relaxers,
of cocktails, you know, and then, you know, then I'll get into it. I mean, yeah, but Comic-Con is so much fun, and then like it really is like a thing that I take my kid during the day, and like we're exhausted, we're running, like we're not running, we're like walking miles and miles and miles, and I'm just like, this outfit is giving me anxiety.
And you don't get like sunburn or anything like that, or do you get?
We get heat stroke every year. We like every year we get heat stroke. Like, we try to avoid it. We try to like do the cool stuff and like with the fans and everything, or like we try to like just stay inside and rest as much as we can. But we always get heat stroke, and it's just like, okay, we have to be really careful because like we'll be walking to like the buses at the end of the day, and we're like, oh, we gotta throw up.
Oh hell yeah!
And I was like, hold on, or like I'm on the bus and I'm like trying to take off my costume already, or at least like take some layers off,
like breathable for you.
Yeah, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm like, the pictures are so cool, but like I'm like under so much hardware under there. I'm just like, I can't.
You're ready to take that off.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure like all that's worth it though. Like looking back in the memories and looking back at those pictures is super.
It's
super
so
remarkable.
much fun. Yeah, I would never take it back. Like even like my shittier cosplays, you know, like I'm like, I look back and I'm like, no, I had so much fun, and you know, and yeah, it's definitely something like I don't think I could ever grow out of. Like, oh, excuse me, and like I have like the homie hookup who always like gets me in, like, thank you so much, Luke, like, because if not, like, you have to get grandfathered in there.
Oh yeah,
so like you'd have to be going for like a like since you were like back in the day when it wasn't like as big. So like you had to be like before 2010 or something. Oh, wow. And that's how long I've been trying, like I've been going And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, you have to be grandfathered or you have to know someone in there.
To get
Because,
you
like,
in.
it's such a, it really is a privilege. Like, and I feel bad for, like, whoever goes for the first time because, like, you do get overwhelmed because you're just like,
There's so much to do there.
yeah, there's so much to do. There's so much people, like, and no one wears deodorant. Like, yeah, you're just like, smells like home. Like,
Yeah. And what's the craziest costume you've seen?
the craziest. Like, honestly, like, what was it? Like a giant transformer? Like, I'm like, how can you even
Fit in there.
Yeah, like this dude was like so tall, and and he's like sitting there like Optimus Prime, just like I was just like, how? Like, and then like, you know, those types of costumes, I'm just like, how to use the bathroom? You probably don't.
You gotta hold that in.
Yeah, you probably don't eat or drink, or like, you know, or if you look at like the really good costumes that like have the full on like Gamoras, or like, you know, the full on like the paint all over them, and I'm just like, you don't eat and you don't touch anything. Like,
Oh yeah, because you're like, you start smashing, like smearing stuff around, right?
I have so much respect for cosplayers because like, even like, I don't like saying there's like a shitty cosplay because they're
No,
that's like, that's not
it's their art. Right?
It's
considered
your
art,
yeah, it's their own interpretation, and like, you know, if you don't look the part, like, it's okay, like, you're literally, that's your character. Like, I feel like I was like Spider-Man, you know, like for how many years, and it's just like, okay, like obviously I'm not a guy, but I still feel like Peter Parker.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I just have a lot of respect for them because it's like, dude, it takes a lot for you to get out there in your costume, and then also costumes are not comfortable, and it's like the more elaborate it is, you're just like,
The more sweat.
oh my gosh, you're just like, I have to take a picture. Like, I have to take a picture of you because like, out of respect, because like, look at you, this is such a commitment, you know, or like, or the girls in heels, like, all day.
Walking around all day. Oh my god.
I can't do that. I'm like, I'm the superhero with like just
The
Chucks
platform,
or
yeah,
something,
Chucks,
you know, like, I'm like, I cannot wear anything that's like uncomfortable, like for shoes at least. I mean, my body can suffer, that's fine, but like for my feet, I'm like, no,
that's
dude,
a no.
yeah, like that's where like I break the costume, and that's where it's like the sneakers are right there.
Oh wow. And then, so, do you ever come across like weirdos, like guys that are like
Yeah,
being too aggressive?
there'll be guys that'll like take a picture of you, and then it's like that's where the camera's at, and you're like, hey man,
What the fuck?
yeah, I'm like, keep the camera up or don't take a picture at all. And they're like, hey, I'm like, no, it's actually not funny, and like that's where like you kind of like get soured a little bit.
Yeah.
And
So it's actually happened to you.
yeah, like, and that's like when you wear the more like, you know,
Revealing.
the more revealing ones, and it's like, that's where they say like cosplay is not consent, and it's just like, it's really, that's true, because like it bums you out when like you want to wear something like that's like more on the sexier side, because you're just like, why not, in the spirit of Comic-Con, like this is something I want to do.
Yeah.
And then of course like you get people who are like, I want to take a picture of you, and then they're like holding you a little too close, and you're just like, oh,
Bro, like what the fuck?
yeah, it's like, you killed it. Like it really sucks. I'm like, you feel for like the girls that like look so pretty, and you're just like, I wonder how many people kind of like ruined your day already, but like you're still like,
you're still going character. I mean, that's super awesome. That's the commitment, right? That's what you're talking about.
yeah. I mean, there's just so many like people in like body types and stuff like that, to where it's like, oh, like I'm glad we're all accepting and we're all so cool about it. You
Yeah.
know, like I haven't seen like not one mean thing. I just like creeps for sure, but like I haven't seen like one person like look at another person and be like, oh my god, why would you look like that, or why would you dress like that?
Or like no body shaming, anything like that.
No,
Okay.
there's just no body shaming. Like everyone dresses how they want to dress
Yeah.
up, and like I'm glad that like we're all on the same page, because like that would be so judgmental. And imagine like if like you felt like 100%, and then someone was just like,
come up to you and just like, yeah, that's not, you're not working that.
yeah,
That'd
they're
be
like
fucked up,
they're
yeah.
like, Captain Marvel doesn't have a gut. I'm like,
Oh, bitch.
dude,
Yeah.
she doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Whatever.
yeah, but I'm just like, let's say that to like the 3 cocktails that I just downed right now. I'm like, Captain Marvel does have one.
Oh my god. And then how's the night like the parties, like, because I seen them, like, well, not saying that I seen them, I mean, I walked by and I seen they look pretty cool, but I've never been inside one. What's the whole experience?
I love the free stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah, that like, because they'll give you like, if it's like a Comic-Con party, like you get drink tickets, or like they'll have like free drinks from like this hour to this hour, so you like take advantage.
Oh, so it's actually worth going.
It's definitely worth going, like, or like you can like leave with like a bunch of merch, or like whatever they're promoting, like they're gonna like give
you.
Yeah, they're gonna give you, and I'm like, I'm a sucker for like anything free, so I'm just like but Yeah, so those parties are definitely worth it. I mean, they'll have like live bands with like nerdy music or something like that, but like it's just so much fun to see everyone like finally out of their homes and they're just like letting loose and stuff. I'm like, I love that. I'm just like, it's that environment and I'm just like, this is so great. But like, of course, like they got like a donut bar, so I'm like, I have to be there. Like,
Yeah, just start grabbing all that food.
yeah, like all the free food is mine basically. But that's why I'm like, you have to sign up for those parties at least once. I mean, I don't want them to fill up the places. Like, maybe I shouldn't tell people to go at least once. I should tell them like it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, I'm like it's so lame.
Because like I actually like find myself like I want to go, but then I'm like I don't know. Like it looks packed. You know, I mean, it could be overwhelming, but at the same time, like it kind of gives me like Onyx vibes.
It's. But you know what's crazy is I feel like all of like our fellow nerds like disappear after like sundown and like everyone else goes out at night. So like when I would go to these Comic-Con parties, I would be in full on costume. I would take a look around and like no one else is dressed up and I'm like, this is so weird. You guys are like in like club outfits or something.
Yeah.
And like only like a few people would be dressed up, but like you could tell like we had just left from Comic-Con to the line. Yeah. And I'm looking at everyone else and I'm just like, dude, you're just here to party or like you're here for like PR or something like that. So like you do feel a little out of place, but like it helps you stand out a little bit more because the like then people are like, oh, look, it's,
who's that?
Who's that person? He's just like, pelvic thrusting and like doing this on the dance floor, but at least you stood out. Like, I definitely get hooked up when I'm like dressed up. Like, I remember being like Harley Quinn one year. And
I can imagine that was like the showstopper right there.
It was so much fun. And my sister was another Harley. So she was the sexy Harley. I was like the WB version of it. So like, it was so much fun, but we were hammered. Like, there were so many people that are like, here's my free drink ticket. Here's my free.
Oh shit.
And I was just like, dude, you're so great. They're like, you guys are good. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like more drinks. Yeah. So like by the end of it, you're just like
completely gone.
Yeah. You're like, this is the best party in the world. Like I'm having the time of my life. And like, to be honest, like it was probably just only you dancing or something, but it's fun. And then like, I don't know, I mingle with everybody. So like, I end up meeting like celebrities that like I are like on a show, but like since I'm like under a rock, I'm like, they're like, you just met this person. I'm like,
oh shit. Who's the biggest name that you met so far?
Anthony Bourdain was my favorite. I was crossing the street and like I looked up and I was just like, oh my, I was like, Anthony Bourdain. And I like took a picture with him. And that was like when I had a digital camera. I didn't have a phone, and I took a picture with him and I was like, oh my God, I love you. I'm like, like I watch your show. And he like, was just like quiet. And he told me, he's like, I thought mimes don't talk because I was dressed up as a mime. And I was just like,
smart ass.
Oh shit. It was like, that's right. We don't. And I was like, can I still get a picture though? He's like, yeah. Like he was like,
yeah,
he was just being a smart ass. But like, dude, that was like my favorite was Anthony Bourdain. And then like, I feel like you always see Seth Green just like walking around. Yeah, he's always walking downtown. Yeah. So he's always there. Like, or you can like see him at the bar or something. I remember like following Elijah Wood into the Hard Rock and then like ended up finding like a free soda line. So I was just like, Elijah Wood free soda. I'm like, and I got the soda.
Holy shit. So would you be bummed out if they move Comic-Con to LA? Because I know that's been that's been a big thing, right? They've been trying to push because it's been bought out by Disney in a sense. Kind of, it's like a weird gray area that they're just trying to bring all the production companies up north.
Yeah. So I really hope they don't, just because since I live here and like I'm like it's a trolley stop away, or like I can just drive my car to downtown and then like go home within 20 minutes. Yeah. And like for me that's like cool because like I have my kid and like I couldn't imagine like if I was in LA I wouldn't be able to do that because then I'd be like I can't just like leave you alone. Of course not, yeah. So like that would definitely like I'd have to choose like, do I take my kid to to LA where like we don't know where the hell anything is at and then we're just gonna be like, and
plus it's more expensive too.
I was about to say like where you pay like $10 for a hot dog but you're just like I don't know where else to go, and you'll be like in the heart of like wherever it's gonna be. So I'm just like I would feel like how everyone feels when they go to San Diego when they're like out of town, or I'm just like it's I mean what a bitch, like like that must be so terrible to like have to book a hotel and then like what if you like forget something at home and it's like
that's it.
Yeah, like I can't even like think that's possible. Like that just gives me anxiety and I'm like I'll be so bummed if they move it. I hope they don't.
Do you think they will? Like do you really think like from what you heard because you've been going for quite a while, what do you think?
I think we have a good few years left, hopefully, just because San Diego, like, they make so much money off of like, they said
tours.
that, yeah, they said that this that Comic Con makes more money than all of the holidays we have combined.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I mean, that's just insane that like a weekend, like if you think about it, like makes more money than like our Christmas season or like our beach season or something. I'm just like, that is so crazy. So I'm like, I hope that they fight for it just because of how much money that it makes.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it sucks. The convention center's like small, but like all the hotels have at least like they're like
Conference room.
yeah, they're like, we'll do it here, we'll do it here. I'm just like, okay, good. Like
Yeah, trying to fight to save it, because I think after that it's like, all right, the Chargers left, which took up a lot of money.
yeah,
Regardless, people saying, oh, it wasn't money. I was like, it's a lot of money. You got tickets, like parking tickets. You got like tow company, the groceries, the bars, the restaurants, hotels. They were all affected by it.
yeah,
But it's funny because I seen a comic, like a drawn comic where they showed the Chargers leaving, and it said Comic Con's like, oh, I've also outgrown San Diego too, and it sucks. I mean, like it does suck, because I think that is very iconic for San Diego.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be realistic about it. Comic Con is like getting bigger and bigger by the year, and it's just like, holy crap. Like, I hope San Diego can hold on to it as much as they can, but like realistically,
I don't think so.
I don't think it's gonna be able to stay, and I think that's gonna be really sad because it's just like, man, like, I don't know. The year that happens is like the year that like will just like break me or something. Like that when they finally announce it has to be somewhere else. I'm just hoping that like San Diego like digs into their tax money and like does something, at least expands it.
Well, they're trying to expand the Seaport Convention Center. I know that they're thinking about adding a Ferris wheel, or like something like the Seattle Space Needle that they have up there. They're trying to do something down there, or build a beach, but I don't think they would.
I don't know. I mean, I think just maybe because we're not like with the times yet. Like I'm just like, I kind of like San Diego the way that it is. Like, but I guess if you're from out of town, like that would be such a cool thing. Like if they had a Ferris wheel right on the water, or like if they had like a Space Needle like right next to like, downtown or something like that.
That'd
like,
be dope.
Yeah, like if you're coming from out of town, like that would be like something that I'd want to do. Like, I mean, even me out of curiosity, I'd be like, yeah, I want to go see that. But like, I just don't want like. I just hate change in a way.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like going to Seaport and it looks the same way that it looks like when you were a kid. And then like, I just feel like, I don't know, like when you're a ghost or something, like in 100 years from now, you're like, what is everything going to look like? Like even when you look around downtown, you're just like, you see so many more buildings, and like the places that are like ghetto, like you're seeing that they're not ghetto anymore.
No, yeah, they're like completely gentrifying it. It's crazy, right?
I'm just like, I'm like looking around. I'm like, I remember when this used to be a bad neighborhood, and I'm like, I can't afford this. I'm like, I can't afford the bad neighborhood. I'm like, damn, I remember this place used to have roaches. I'm like, maybe they still have roaches, but like they're just charging.
It's a facelift. That's all it is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Damn.
Like now I'm like, if you live in downtown, I'm like, whoa.
Hey, I don't. I live like. Think about where I live. It's like where you turn on the lights and the cockroach goes underneath the corner. That's where I live. It's the outskirts of downtown.
Yeah, it's basically like it's where they like pushed everything out.
Everything
They're like
out.
Even the roaches. They were like, you gotta like go over here. You gotta go to Market Street or something.
Yeah, that's exactly, because like it's funny when I start selling things on OfferUp, or people come buy stuff from my house. They're like, oh, I was gonna buy it, but there's a bunch of bums. I'm gonna drive away. Like I got scared. I was like, don't be scared. They're very nice people. They're doing their own thing. They're not gonna mind.
Yeah, like, well, don't look rich in front of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, hopefully you don't look like you're made of money.
Well, yeah. I think I learned. It's like a mutual respect. They know who you are. They know they're not gonna mess with their money. Like we do have some drug dealers in the corner, but again, they know I'm not gonna mess with their money. They're not gonna mess with my car. So.
If you just mind your own business, to be honest, it's just like, and I mean, if you're walking around like this, like, of course, like, you're gonna look like suspicious. You're gonna look weird. Even a bum will look at you like, "Are you okay?" Like, but like, if you just like walk around, like, I have my own shit to deal with right now.
Exactly.
I mean, I feel like I look annoyed like every time I go like run an errand or I'm out there in the world. Like, I think. Because it's like safer to just look annoyed. Because if you look annoyed, like people are just gonna assume you're busy, or like they're gonna assume like, okay, you don't have time for it.
Exactly. They're like, don't mess with her.
Yeah, but then God forbid someone speaks to me, because I'm like, like, yeah.
Oh my God! And let me say this. I didn't even get your name. We didn't get your name.
Oh no.
No, we're like
We just dove right into it.
Yeah, we're 50 minutes in, and then I'll probably throw this in the front. So, what's your name?
My name is Jannette.
Jannette.
Yes.
Oh wow, Jannette.
Jannette. I mean, not like my Instagram name that I used.
Okay, and how old are you?
I am.
If that's appropriate to ask.
I mean, it's definitely appropriate, but like, I just feel like once you tell people's like your age, they immediately start to size you up for what that age should be. So like, I kind of stopped talking about my age for like a while now, and like, I know it's crazy, but like, you know, the whole non-binary thing, I'm like, I'm not gonna say I'm non-binary, but like, I stopped telling people how old I am just because I'm like, I hate getting sized up.
And I mean, I may sound dumb, but what's non-binary?
You just don't identify, like, or you just you don't. Yeah, that's literally it. Like, you don't identify as a certain thing or anything like that. But like for me, I'm like, I would say like my age. I'm just like, you know, I mentally like, where do I stand? I'm probably like 12, you know, or like, I'm like, I'm really immature, and then like I'm mature for certain certain things, you know. But that's why I'm like, if I tell people I'm like, you know, in my 20s or 30s or something, like they immediately just kind of like look at you like, oh, you're a baby, or like, oh, like you know, that's why I'm just like, I'll avoid it even on dates or something like that. Like, I don't even think they get like one piece of information out of me, like, because I just won't say anything. I'll just sit there and like listen, you know.
Okay. So going on that subject right there, do you find yourself leading the date, especially when you kind of like lead the menu choices?
You know, dating is just, it's weird to me. Like, I could go like 1,000 places with my friends, excuse me, but if I go somewhere with a guy, like I typically won't want to send him to like the places that I like to go to. Like I'll go to like a new place or something like that, but like if it's a place that I love, like I would, God forbid, like it's a horrible date, or like he's like a really touchy-feely guy or something, and then I'm at a place where like people recognize me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I don't want them to think anything of that. But I'll usually take them to like a new spot, but like it's hard for me to like act like truly myself, where I'm like, I want to order like 18 different things, because like I always, not that I feel bad for dates, but I'm also like, I'm not going to assume you're made of money either. So like, I'm not going to sit there and order all the courses, you know, like even like dessert, they're like, no, we're good. I'm like,
oh, wow. Like that?
Yeah. I'm like, okay. I mean, I feel like my dates are really short, and right after the date, like I'll tell them I'm going home, but I'm actually going to the bar down the street, because I'm like, I still want it. I'm like, it's still my time off, but like it's so bad. I'm like, I'll like try to hurry up the date, because I'm just like, dude, this bar like is gonna be a real bitch to get into. Like, and I'm like, all right, okay, goodbye, bye. You know?
Do you find yourself checking out on a date, like right off? Like, can you tell where the date's gonna lead to for yourself?
Maybe it's just out of fear or something like that, because I'll talk to guys and it's like, it's just weird for me. I can't mentally, I just can't get into it. Or like, they just get really predictable, or it's just like, oh, I can tell you're gonna like grab my hand here, I can tell you're gonna try to like kiss me at this time, and it's just like, oh, like I get really anxious and upset over it, because it's just like, I feel like so many people are like predictable now, that I'm just like,
you already know.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no mystery unless you're like a psychopath or something. Like, and then of course, like I'm like, well, this is a great date with like a gun to my head. But like, yeah, so it's hard for me to date, like, because I'm mentally like, I'm kind of already thinking of the next place that I want to go to right after. Like, I don't know. I feel like being alone is like definitely my comfort zone, or like if I have any free time, like it's gonna go to like my friends or something. But dating is just definitely hard for me. I mean, I feel like my energy doesn't match them either. Like I have like a sense of humor that like I just come off as like I'm like an asshole, but I'm not. It's like there's not a mean bone in my body.
It's a dark humor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is a dark humor, and like, you know, guys are just like, your mind. I'm like, I know, right? And they're like, oh. And I'm like, okay, you don't get it. But I'm just like, I mean, I have like best friends that like have my type of humor, so I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I know there's people out there.
There's people out there, yeah.
But it's just like, unfortunately, like I keep meeting all these people, and I'm like, we are just not gonna get along.
All right, and then let me ask you this: what's a big no-no for you, like in a guy?
Like definitely like a horn dog. I can't deal with it. Like we're like, you could tell like he's just like, so we're gonna like go back to my place, right? And I'm just like, no.
Are guys like very like straightforward to you like that?
Yeah, or like, you'll be like, okay, like I want to take like a smoke break outside or something like that, and then like they'll take that as like that's our cue to like
let's
to
get
make out,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, no. I mean, I'm kind of like a cat in a way where it's like, dude, like if I like you, you'll definitely know that I like you, but like other than that, I'm like, I almost like regret my decision when I'm like with guys. I'm just like, I made a mistake, like, or like I can tell like right off the bat, like we're just not gonna get along, or like, but yeah, the horny ones kill me. Like we're like, I had one dude where like I'm like trying to get into my car, and he's just like, please,
Begging you,
please, and I'm like, no, like I'm like, this was a nice night, like please, you're making this
worse.
so fucking weird. Like I'm like, I mean, not every date has to end with us like hooking up or something. I'm like, I'm so sorry that like your past dates have like led you on and like made you feel like every date's gonna go on like this. I was like, but damn, dude, like this sucks. Like I don't know. I feel like I leave more disappointed
than what you thought you were gonna come out with. Right?
Yeah. So like I'll go on like my season of like dating, and then like I'll go on like 3 or 4 dates, and I'm just like, I hate it. Like I'm like, God, I really wish I could have gone out with like my friends, or like, I'll make the night up, definitely, like I'll go somewhere else. Like I can't go on like on a date without just going somewhere else right after. I mean, it's probably awkward if they follow me on social media, because they're just like, you said you were going home.
And has any guy ever called you out?
No.
Like okay.
No, I feel like just the way that I am, they're probably just like, yeah, of course she went out after that. They're like, this went horrible.
That's funny.
But I feel like I give dudes like anxiety though. So I'm just like, I think like I'm very high energy, and if I am excited to talk to someone, I'm just like, oh no, I scared them off.
All right. And I guess let me ask you this: what advice would you have for a guy that's trying to read a date? Like, if that makes sense.
I guess definitely less is more. At least that's what I do on dates. Like where I feel like sometimes like I'll even just be silent, because I'll just listen to this guy like talk himself into a grave. I'm just like,
bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm like, you just keep going and going and going. Like you don't even know. Like you haven't asked me not one question. Like some guys will just sit there and just talk about themselves. So wow. I would definitely say like, it's okay to be quiet on a date. Like it's definitely okay to just like sip a cocktail and just like be quiet for 30 minutes or something. I like sometimes it's just that peace of mind for me that I'm just like, okay, that would be nice. Like if I wanted to go out, I would just love it to just be quiet for like 5 minutes, and like have you not talk about yourself, or like, guys always try to talk themselves up like money wise. They're like, oh no, like I have this, and you're just like,
all right. And does money really matter?
Yes.
Right. I feel like that's the ugly truth. You mean no matter what it is, money. What was the study? It's either why people get divorces because of sex, money, and then what's the other one? Those three main things. But it's always money or sex that people get divorced for.
Yeah, I mean, they say you're supposed to like marry smart and like stupid. So I hate that, like, I've always like engraved that in my mind, where it's like, okay, if I am going to get with somebody, it's going to be with someone that like, not to sound materialistic, but like I would love to be taken care of. Like if I was in a bind, like let's say like, when I was like in the hospital for a long time, like I would like to not have to like worry about certain things if I'm with them, like, I mean, is it materialistic? Kind of.
I don't think it's too materialistic, because who doesn't want to be taken care of? You know what I mean? And then it just goes back to that, what can I do for you? You know what I mean, like you do for me type of thing. So if you're able to be financially taken care of, why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, that just comes down to that. But I think me as a guy, I feel like that's so much pressure as well, and it's weird.
Well, in San Diego, it's almost impossible, like, because girls have they're already mentally taking notes of, like, how much, like, you're worth or something like that. Because, like, I mean, this is such a busy, crazy town that, like, I mean, I'm even kind of doing it as well. Like, I catch myself to where I'm just, like, you look at their shoes, or, like, you look at, like, how they are. Like, like, when you go to, like, nicer places, it's, like, how do they act? Like, do they act, like, timid, or, like, do they act, like, like they're confident and they're like, there's just a lot of stuff to where it's like they don't even have to say anything and then you could just like get it like right away. But yeah, I mean, it's like kind of mean to say because it does put pressure on like guys, and like I don't want to be the person that like that adds into it, but I think like I was just like I've been working class so much to where it'd be like it would be so cool to get with a person that could like offer me a better life. Yeah. Like I mean, at the end of the day, that's what marriages were intended for. Like it was like for you to like marry up or for you to like
that's the traditional like marriage.
It's the traditional way, and it's I mean I guess like maybe I've never been like super like loved correctly or something like that to where I'm just like I mean it makes sense to me. I'm like if you were to marry, like definitely marry and like into a better situation, because if not then it's just like then you're just two bums under a bridge, and like like you guys can love each other like to death, but like then you'll be like you're in a shit situation, they're in like the same situation, and then you're like but I love you, and then you're just still stuck there. Like in reality it's kind of hard for you to like jump or do better like in exactly. Like and I mean if I could get with someone that like could I don't know, it's so bad to like reveal my dreams, right? But like I will reveal like one of my like life goals is like I wish I could get with someone who could like afford to like freeze my eggs, like
oh wow,
like to where like that type of money would they'd be like yeah of course I can freeze your eggs, but like that would be like in a perfect world.
Yeah,
that'd be amazing. Like I'm not thinking of like handbags or jewelry or something like that. I'm like no I'm like I want to get with someone who could like
preserve my eggs.
Yeah, like I'm thinking of like the future. Yeah, like I'm like because I'm like I don't want to like get with someone and have kids right away. I'm like no I want to get with someone and like I want to like travel. I want to do like a bunch of crazy like stuff and like experience the world like with someone, like to where like I'm like yeah I did it by myself, but it'd be so cool to like have someone
there with you.
Yeah, and then like if I'm able to like have kids later on, like the medical cool way like that I dream of, like that would be so cool. Because like if not then like your little clock is ticking. I'm just like
yeah. Oh. And it's funny too because I was fortunate enough, like with the girl I'm dating right now, my partner, I mean not to say I'm not financially stable, but I know I could be in better financial spacing. But I mean, it's finding that right partner, right? I guess finding the person that you have a friend, that friendship, and being able to grow. At the end of the day, like again, she may say that hey, it's not about the money, but reality is like it does come down to money, and it's like if you're not growing together, or if you're not making progress, then what's the purpose, right? I mean, and that just goes with everything else because it leads to arguments like, oh, I'm always paying this, or you're not pitching in, or you're not helping out. It's just like that's what again why marriage fails because of financial reasoning too. But like I said, like for me, it's just always a growing experience and learning experience, and I would never want to have that image for my son to see that hey, I was content where I'm at. And again, it's a lot of pressure, especially for me as a guy.
Well, I mean, I think it's scary too, because like, I mean, you said that you have a partner, and then like, if you're not on the same page, it's like then you're gonna feel like you're being held back, and like I think that's a really big fear, like to feel like someone is holding you back, because it's like it kind of seems like you're not shallow, but like it seems like you're shallow, like when it's just like when they're not doing so well, but it's just like you're working so hard and you're starting to feel like that pull. I mean, I've been in a situation like that before, and it sucks because you do get a little resentful. You know, you do get like a little upset, like, and you start to like think about it where it's just like a coyote, where it's like, dude, if my foot's stuck in a trap, like I'll chew off my own freaking, I'll chew it off, like if it's holding me back. I mean, that's probably why like I can't even like feel comfortable with people, to where it's just like I'm like, man, are you like trying to be better, or like or if not. You're like, I mean, most of the time, like if you're dating people like in their 30s, like I feel like after you're 30 you're pretty set in your ways.
You should have you should have a foundation where you're at, right? You should have like, this is what you should be doing. And it's probably wrong for me to say that. I'm probably going to get backlash for saying that, but I feel like you should have like a stepping stone of where you're at in life, like financially. But then like how you said it, like I never thought about traveling with a partner until I met her. Like I always thought like, have a kid and then probably have another kid, and that was it. But like until like she actually opened up like that perspective, like, hey, I want to go travel. Hey, I want to go do this. I don't want to have a kid right now. Like that's not my option. Like, I want to explore the world, and if you're with it, come through. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't think about it. And so we started going out, and it's a different lifestyle for sure, and it seems fun. I mean, I've never, again, probably.
It's cool when you like when people will open your eyes like
Yeah.
to stuff like that, where you're just like, there's so much like of a bigger world out there.
Oh, definitely.
I feel like that's even like, you know, it'll help you get out of your own head too, like in your own little head space. I mean, at least that's what I kind of did with like exploring San Diego, like all these little places and stuff like that, to where like, yeah, like I was like kind of sad and I was like in my own head, but I'm like, but you know what? There's like places to be,
Yeah.
you know? I'm like, I could see her at home and I could be like really sad and bummed and just like, you know, like stare at the floor for hours, or I'm like, or I could be at a place that's alive right now, and I'm like, and I could just stare at people, like, because I mean that's like half the fun is just like
People watching.
it's just people watching. Like, I'll have like, you know, my drink in the corner, but I'll be listening to people's horrible dates or something like that, and I'm just like, this is getting nowhere, but they're gonna hook up, like, you know, I'm just like, you could tell like that they're just,
So you could actually read a situation.
yeah, like where you're just like, this is gonna go nowhere, but like you could tell like this dude's gonna be like, you know, ass is ass. And I'm just like, yikes, you know, they'll leave and then I'll like talk crap at the bartender or something because I'm like, you hear that? And he's like, yeah. But like, it's definitely like, I mean, I'm glad that like you found your person, because like the whole dating scene out there, I feel is rigged.
It's fucking, yeah, it's definitely like a blessing. Don't get me wrong, I'm not the perfect walk in the park. I do have my flaws. But again, it's a learning experience, right? And whatever happens, and I'm just doing my best. That's the bottom line I could do. But going back on that dating scene, it's a fucking different world out there for sure.
Dude, it is. I mean, even down to like personal style. You'll just like, you'll walk up to someone, you're just like, dude, is this what you wear every day? Like, or like, this is what you wear on a date? Like, oh, God forbid, like that, like a dude wears a flannel at night. I'm just like, you have no imagination and you must not care at all. You don't care about this date at all. I'm like, flannel at night is so lazy. You look so, and then I get upset and I'm just like, oh man, like I'm already telling this dude that like he's, you know, mentally in my mind that he's like not good enough, and it's just like based off of what he wore, you know.
But is that? But do you think that kind of like puts you in a disadvantage? Like what's that word? Assuming, right?
Yeah.
You think you're not giving them a full chance?
I mean, I'll at least give them like a second date or something, but like mostly it's just based on how they are. It's just like, I'm like, you know, I could get past the way that someone dresses, because I'm like, you know, I would never, I'm like, I'm very accepting. So I'll like, if you wear like literally like the same freaking outfit every day, like I'm not gonna sit there and like say anything, because I'm like, dude, if I like you, I like you, like, you know, I'm gonna accept you for how you are. But like, you know, if you're dressing like, I don't know, you'd have to be like really insulting to like the seasons to me or something, where I'm just like, that's not the season for this, or like, you know, or if you're wearing like those jeans that like were good like 10 years ago, but they're not good like now, I'm just like, oh, you know, like I like to be trendy, at least for like the, you know, some of it, but it's just like, yeah, I think that it does put me on a disadvantage, because like I'll just size someone up like almost immediately, and then I'm just like, God, I'd rather be alone.
But that's, I mean, that's me just saying that, you know, that's, you know what's best, you know what you want, and that's nothing wrong with that, right? Everybody has their own opinion on what they like and they don't like.
Yeah.
But that's funny. Oh my God. So that being said, do you have any recommendations for anybody that's out there?
Any recommendations?
Yeah, as in like for them to say, hey, I don't know where I want to go try someone new, or like I'm scared of going out new. Like, what's the prep talk you would tell them?
Oh my God, definitely like fake confidence. You have to fake it. Like, I don't even think there's like a confident bone in my body, but like, dude, when I'm out there in the world, you would never know, because like I will sit there and like act like I'm like I own the place, and it's just weird, because if you act like a certain way, like other people will just like
Assume it.
They'll follow it, you know. And I'm just like, well, thank God, because like I'm just like, I'm like shaking on the inside, but like here I am, I'm like, I mean, hello, you know, like where you have to like talk to people and mingle. And I mean, I think it gives you like, it's going to make you feel accomplished, like if you just put yourself out there and just like pretend that you have confidence, like. And even if like that night goes terribly, you're the only person there, so like you could just block it out and say it never happened. You know, like I don't think I've had like a bad night, you know, like where I've just been out there and like you just mingle and talk, and like I feel like you end up making friends. Like I haven't had like a dangerous night. I mean, thank goodness. But I think you just have to put yourself out there. And I would definitely say like have a place that you've been meaning to try. And like I wouldn't wait for your friends. I wouldn't wait for your family. Like I wouldn't wait till they say like, oh, maybe I'd like to go on a date here.
Just fucking do it.
Just do it. Like nothing annoys me on earth more than anything than a newly single person who's like, I love dating myself. I'm like, then why didn't you do it when you had a boyfriend? I love dating my friends. I'm like, then why didn't you do that when you had a boyfriend? You know, I'm like, life is so much fun when you do these things for yourself or when you do things for friends. Like you can make your life so romantic. Like if you want to, you know, you could, like, you have every choice to like create your own happiness, like, or like, you know, dress the way you want. Like I hear so many people that are like, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that. I'm like, well, good, because like it takes you getting out of your comfort zone. Like it, you know, even with like outfits that I've been wearing, like I'm like the leather I'm like, I don't know if I could do it, but I'm just like, I'm just gonna act like this was my decision, you know, like, I mean, it is my decision, but I'm just gonna, like, I get scared of, like, the decisions that I make, like, fashion-wise, but, like, in the pictures, you would never know, you know, I'm just like, You're
rocking it, definitely.
Yeah, like, I do it to, like, my best degree, but I'm like, I mean, even when I'm, like, looking at the pictures, I'm just like, man, I really walked out in that outfit, like, I really went to, like, Morning Glory and, like, a little, like, tiny bodysuit, I'm just like, at least I did it, you know, like at least like you'll feel really good after, you know, when you really put yourself out there. So like, that's definitely my advice is like, don't wait on anyone, find a place that you really want to go by yourself. And like, I mean, you could feel as shy as you want, but you won't look it if you're just like, if you're in an outfit that like you feel confident in, or like, I don't know. And like, it's easy to fake it. Like, and like less is so much more. So you could just be the mysterious person in like, you know, in the back of like the bar or something that just stares. Like that's fine. You could do that for a while, but like eventually put yourself out there and like talk to people.
I just learned something.
Yeah.
I see, you give me confidence.
I hope so. I mean,
yeah.
I'll steal some from like myself too, because like I'm gonna have to put myself back out there, and I know like I have to do the baby steps again, where like I'm gonna have to like go back out like to like restaurants and stuff by myself. So like I'm gonna have to like
breathe in, breathe out.
Yeah. I can hyperventilate in the bathroom, or like, you know, take a couple like of blinkers like to get over it, but it's definitely like you feel better.
Yeah, I could agree. It's like a rewarding feeling that you get out of it. Yeah. That's crazy. Like I would never have thought that would go through your head, because again, you sell it so well that you're very confident that you own this shit. Like I'm telling you, your story, your posts, like this person's very assured of themselves.
Yeah, I pretend like I own the room when I walk in, when in reality I'm just like the most
fuck.
I am just like, I'm like, come in like this, and I'm just like, oh shit, what now?
Oh wow.
But that's what it is. Just fake it, man. I mean, I guess like that makes me like a huge faker or something. But like I like love the like end result, you know, like if you like end up making friends, or like if you like have a new group of people, and just like then you can be yourself and you can be like really cool with everybody. Yeah. And then people will see that I'm just like, just a happy little stoner.
And I guess before I like we're about to hop off this, were you always this outgoing? Were you always this outgoing, like in the younger ages?
No, when I was younger, not that I was shy. I just like was just one of those little angry kids. So like I didn't want to be a part of like any crowd, and I was just like so anti everything. I think I was like that even after high school. Like I was just like no, if it's mainstream I don't like it, you know, like I was such a little brat like that. I mean, and now like I definitely like laid off, and like I'm like letting myself like I can like be a kid and stuff. But I think obviously like when I was younger, I was just so like busy trying to grow up that like I wasn't as outgoing. But like I know that I could talk to the teachers, like I could like talk about their personal lives, like really personal. And I could like carry on that conversation, which is like, okay, well, if I can be friends with like older people, then I mean, I can kind of be friends with younger people too, you know? So it took me a while, like a couple of years in like customer service too. Then you're like, all right, now I know how to talk to people. So
that working that customer service line kind of broke this mold for you.
Yeah. Especially like, oh God, I was like a barista for a while, and like you have to yell someone's like name out like
there.
like across the room. Like if you can get over that, then like you can pretty much do anything. You can come in and be like, hi, you know.
Yeah.
It like kind of forces you to like have that type of energy. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Like I kind of carried that into like real life. Yeah, like now I just walk into a bar like, hi. And they're like, Jesus, this bitch is happy to be here.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. And thank you for coming out to the show. I really do appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. This was like fun, and I'm like terrified for you to edit everything. You're gonna be like, God, she talks so much.
Not even. I'm telling you, half the process is already done as we're recording this, and I'm hitting the edits as we go.
Nice.
But probably this angle right here is bad.
Yeah, that's not a good angle.
Yeah, that was a horrible angle, and I think I did like a part of a segment, and we're done.
Sweet.